CHAMPS Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare, Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor, and the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers. Well, hey everyone, hope you're enjoying another beautiful day. Welcome to episode 55 of State Champs Live, presented by Lawrence Technological University. You cannot gamble on your higher education. The careers of today that are most in need is that of engineers, robotics, architecture, and computer science. I cannot recommend Lawrence Technological University enough. I implore you to take advantage of a proven university that has graduates making incredible money right out of college. Find out more at ltu.edu. We are live right now on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter every Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. My name is Lauren Plant, and we are talking competitive robotics on today's show. That is why I am wearing the RoboZone label once again. But first, let's get to the headlines for Wednesday, June 17th. Earlier this week, the NCAA's Division I men's and women's basketball oversight committees worked with their respective coaches' associations to propose temporary recruiting calendars for the fall in order to reestablish some order into this year's recruiting cycle. The two proposals are similar with some small variations and must be approved by the D1 Council when it meets today. The dead period for recruiting expires July 31st. The proposed men's calendar would have a quiet period through August, then most of September would be a recruiting period, while the women's plan has a quiet period through mid-August with an evaluation period through the end of September. 8 players and 5 coaches with ties to Michigan high schools or colleges are on this year's ballot for the College Football Hall of Fame. The players include Michigan's Mark Mesner and Steve Hutchinson, Michigan State's Flozell Adams and Morton Anderson, Boston College's Pete Mitchell, and Virginia Union's William Dillon, while the coaches are Darryl Rogers, Morley Frazier, Roy Kramer, Dick Lowry, and Pete Schmidt. National Football Foundation membership voting will last through July 7th, providing guidance for the committees that will select the induction class early next year. The National Wrestling Coaches Association handed out its Coach of the Year hardware on Tuesday, naming Dundee's Tim Roberts as this year's honoree. Back in February, Roberts led the Vikings to a 3rd straight state title and 6th in 8 years, with 13 individual state placers and 7 state champion wrestlers. Having led the Vikings to 12 state titles and 6 runner-up finishes in 21 seasons as head coach, Roberts has been honored as Regional Coach of the Year 19 times and State Coach of the Year 8 times. All right, so those are the headlines. Let's get to today's Hungry Howie's Twitter question of the day. Do you think sports will be able to resume in the fall if in-person classes are able to resume? Yes. Yes, with restrictions. Not until a vaccine is available, or I don't know. Find State Champs Michigan on Twitter and vote. We'll read the results tomorrow. Well, it's hard to believe, but 6 years ago, we got our first introduction into the world of competitive robotics. And one of the first people we ever talked about the sport with is our guest today. This was before he became the spokesperson for the Brawny Paper Towels campaign. So I had to get that in. He took part in our Emmy Award-winning Beyond Sports documentary on the sport, and that was the show that was the impetus to begin RoboZone. So Clinton Bolinger joins us today to talk about the sport. Thank you so much for coming on the show, Clinton. Appreciate it.
Hey, thanks for having me. I enjoyed it the first time, and I'm enjoying it this time.
All right, fantastic. So we'll kind of get, kind of give an overview on some stuff too. So for those who are new to the sport, give us an overview on what really competitive robotics is and the unique opportunity it brings to kids with all kinds of different interests and talents.
Yeah, competitive robotics, it's more than just having students build robots to compete. It kind of covers a wide range of things. You have students that are into photography or communications, writing, but we do also have people that program, who do electrical wiring, who do mechanical design, both virtually in CAD and physically machining. It's really the sport, and the teams are ran like businesses. They have all the different areas. It's just as exciting as watching a 3-on-3 basketball game. The only difference is the three teams are typically from one, each team is from a different high school within the state versus three other teams from different high schools. So that's why you'll see like 3 red robots versus 3 blue robots. The game every year is always changing. There's game design committees who design the games and try to give the students challenges to work through and design a new robot every year. So it keeps it exciting, it keeps it new, it keeps it fresh.
Absolutely. And can you talk about its connection to business, the mentors involved in the sport, along with sponsorships? I mean, it serves as an incredible networking and recruiting tool for both the companies and the students.
Yeah, a lot of mentors join the program because they're excited to participate and help teach students about science, technology, and engineering. A lot of people in Michigan are from engineering backgrounds, so they work directly with the students, seeing them grow. But there are a lot of companies, FCA, GM, Ford, a lot of different, big threes that use this as a recruitment program where they're more or less getting a 6 to 12 week interview process with high school students, seeing what they do, seeing how they react to problem solving, seeing how they attack difficult problems, and if things work out, they could start, joining their company as an internship, or if maybe the students go on to go to like Kettering University, they might be hired on as a co-op with their company as well.
Absolutely. You're a big part of one of the most successful teams, the EngiNERDs, Team 2337. I'm curious because I've never even asked anyone before, but how did you guys come up with that name?
Actually, it was a little bit of a joke from college. I went to Kettering University. I graduated in 2006. There were some shirts going around the campus that said, EngiNERDs, you can't resist this. And it was a picture of a resistor. So I had that shirt when we started me and my wife started the team back in 2008. The students saw it. They liked the idea of it. So we kind of went with it, and it's just kind of owned it. Kind of a thing that we've always said is, we're trying to make it cool to be a nerd. A lot of our students go on to be professionals and, managers and, all that kind of stuff. So they're perfectly fine with being nerds. Sometimes the nerds get paid the big bucks. And with this sport, it's also the support that everyone can go pro. Everyone can be a
Yeah.
professional engineer, a professional scientist, or anything like that with this sport. And where other sports, it is difficult to go pro in basketball and football, but it is possible. But this one, almost anyone can go pro into engineering, science, and technology fields.
Agree. For those who also don't know, can you explain the number system in FIRST Robotics, how you're assigned a team number?
Yeah, so a long time ago, the numbers were kind of random, but there came a point where FIRST started to basically increase the number depending on how new your team is. So a lot of people know Team 33, the Killer Bees. They've been in the program for a very long time. I think it's over 25 years they've been involved. So they have a 2-digit number. Now our team, we're a 4-digit number, 2,337, 2337. So we started in 2008. Now, if we look at some of the newer numbers, the numbers are up in the 8,000, number range, and students are, from other schools. I think there's like 530-ish in the state of Michigan alone. So the higher the number, the younger the team is. The lower the number, the older the team is.
Yeah, absolutely. It's really incredible how it's grown just in the short time that we've covered it in the those 6 years. Where are you guys based out of? And if you could provide, I know you've already given us a little history, but just kind of where you guys are located, what kids belong to, the EngiNERDs, and maybe share some of the team accomplishments that you've been able to do over the years.
Yep, our team is located in Grand Blanc, Michigan. It's on the south side of Flint in Genesee County. We have about 34 students that were on the team last year. This last year was our 13th year doing it, started in 2008. We've been fortunate to be one of the few teams to make it to every Michigan State Championships that has existed. Unfortunately, we were set up to go to this year's Michigan State Championship until everything happened with COVID. One of our probably biggest accomplishments this year is we were able to compete at Kettering Week 1. We went to that event. We were 18-0, meaning we won all of our matches. We won the event. We won chairman's at that event, and we also won safety. So it was exciting because it was one of the first times that's ever happened in the state of Michigan for someone to basically win all the awards that they could. And we got out of that event with 83 district points, which has never happened in the state of Michigan.
That's amazing. That's great. Now, you just alluded to it. This first robotics season, very much like high school sports, was cut short.
Yep.
Those who were participating in winter sports, at least most of them, you were able to get a couple of competitions under your belt. So for your team, this definitely wasn't a total loss this season.
It wasn't a total loss. Actually, the interesting thing is you can kind of pick when you want to go to your district events. We decided this year we were going to be bold and go to a week 1, 2. Most people like to go to like a week 1 and a week 5 or something like that to spread out their season. A lot of people talking to us thought we were crazy. They were like, "What are you guys doing? Why are you guys going to week 1, 2?" Hindsight, it paid off for us. We were able to actually compete in our 2 district events. We were able to win the first one. The second one we went to was St. Joe's. We ended up ranking number 1 at the event, picking our partner Strike Force to be on our alliance. Unfortunately, due to some situations, we ended up losing in the semifinals. But it still was a great event and a great time. We were fortunate. I think there was only like 2.4% of the state teams that got to compete in 2 events, and we were one of them. So we were very fortunate. However, we also got a taste of the game. We got a taste of what it was like to play this game, and we just wanted more from our team.
Yeah, absolutely. And with the World Championships being in Detroit, you get that opportunity to stay home. But they are playing the same game next year. Am I correct?
Yeah, so there has been a release that they are intending to play, we'll say the same game-ish, right? They
Okay.
haven't confirmed if it's a complete replay of the game. They did leave opportunities, so if they wanted to adjust some of the point structures of the game, or maybe some of the field elements, or maybe even some of the game pieces, that is a possibility. But first is trying to do this to help teams out, to lower their cost of what it takes to build a robot, to be able to reuse maybe their chassis or maybe use other components that they've already built, because there were some teams that never even got to put their robot on the field this season and play. And to spend 6 to 7 weeks designing, building, prototyping, meeting 32 hours a week to design your robot, that can be a bit heartbreaking. So first made the right decision to try to replay the game for next year. It's the most fiscally responsible position for them to take, and I think a lot of teams are going to benefit from this.
The RoboZone brand, we've expanded to move outside of FIRST and cover different other competitions for robotics. We covered for the first time last fall the Oakland County Competitive Robotics Association, or OKRA. Talk about your involvement with that group.
OKRA is a alternative robotics competition. I am fortunate to be able to be a part of the game design committee. So each summer we work on a new game for the students to build. It's very similar to FIRST. So if you've seen FIRST, you kind of know about the size of the robots. However, the little different part about this is in FIRST, the students and mentors can work with the students and help the students machine and make things. In OKRA, it has to be 100% student built, student designed, and they can't use any heavy machinery like mills and lathes. They have to use hand tools, drills, as you can kind of see some of the pictures here, and kind of build everything a little more from scratch. So the competition, like I said, it's new every year. We're currently working on the 2020 game. We are moving ahead as if we are going to be able to still compete and have the OKRA competition for 2020. So any students out there that are looking forward to that, please know that we are working, and we're hoping that we're going to be able to open up and still have these competitions.
Right. So OKRA is a little more like Flintstones instead of Jetsons. I guess that's the way
absolutely. But the students have a blast playing it. And like I said, you could give these students any kind of game, and they're going to build something. They're going to build these great ideas and great creations. I talked to one of my students, and they said their favorite part about a competition is actually when stuff breaks. Not when it works properly. It's when it breaks, because then they can fix it and get in there and do what they have to. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Vex Robotics is another part of the robotics world that we have covered. What is the primary difference between FIRST and Vex, and can the teams do both?
Yeah, the teams can obviously do both competitions. Depends on the structure of your school or your organization that you have. Vex robots a little bit smaller. Typically, on an FRC team, you have a 30 by 30 by 60-inch tall robot that 30 some students, maybe 20 some students will build. On a Vex robot, you're building an 18 by 18 by 18 size robot, kind of built out of similar things of maybe some people know of like erector sets, but these are actually Vex EDR products. And you might have anywhere from 4 to 6 students building on a single robot. This allows for teams to maybe diversify and have 4 robots and 4 mini teams that are building 4 individual built robots. And it's scalable. So the more students you get, you can start more teams. Or if you're just a small group of, homeschool students or, friends and families that want to create a team, you can create a single robot, a single team of maybe 4 students and build that robot. You still get the same kind of lessons learned, continuous improvement, design iteration, all that type of stuff that you get through FRC. It's just on a smaller scale and maybe a little more obtainable because of some of the costs that are involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's great that it's there's something for everyone. So, hey, if you have any questions or comments for Clinton Bolinger, ask them now on Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. We'll get to them. But first, here's what happened this week in State Champs history. We go to the 2005 Division I Baseball State Championship game between Sterling Heights-Stevenson and Ann Arbor Pioneer. The Titans would get 2 runs in the opening inning. Solid defense and pitching saw Sterling Heights-Stevenson shut out Pioneer 2-0 for its first state title in school history. This week in State Champs history is presented by Lawrence Tech Athletics. Recruit yourself at ltuathletics.com. All right, so I think everybody's just soaking this one in, Clinton. I'm trying to head over to the YouTube page, see if we can get anything that's going on there. But we got some good interaction. I do want to talk to you about your day job, and that's running the company, The Robot Space. So talk about your business, kind of what you guys do, and also how you've had to adapt due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, so the Robot Space, we're located in Lapeer, Michigan. We provide robot parts and accessories to the educational, hobbyist, and professional markets. We actually sell to a large percentage of FRC teams in the Midwest, providing them with the parts that they need to actually build their robots each season. Due to the COVID situation, we were hit like all other businesses because of the shortened season. But we're still able to ship parts out to people. So if things start to open up here in the near future, teams feel free to buy some stuff from us for those off-season projects or Okra, or even if you plan to attend the Kettering kickoff. We're here. The idea behind it is save time, save money, build robots.
Well, there you go. And we really appreciate you coming on the show. I encourage everyone who has an interest to really explore competitive robotics. Again, it's grown so tremendously over the last decade or so. I'm pretty sure we'll be at 1,000 teams before you know it. But that's because there's great interest, there's great support from the business community, and it really is a unique opportunity for kids of all stripes to work together for a common goal. So best of luck with your business as well as all your work in the world of competitive robotics. State Champs RoboZone, we'll be covering it all. So thank you very much.
Thanks for having me.
All right, take care, Clint. Let's take a look at today's clip of the day. And that's your clip of the day. All right, so send us a link to your clip on any of our social media platforms. We'll check it out. Chaos training is not exactly what it sounds like, but it's effective. Here's an example from one of our DMC Game Changers segments.
The AC on the female athlete is something that I've studied for the last 35 years. But why are we still having these injuries 4 to 5 times more frequently than males in those same sports? Well, recent studies may be pointing in the right direction. Our female brain functions a little bit differently than the male brain. We process information in a more organized, less chaotic manner. So what we need to do is train the female athlete's brain for the chaos of the game.
Yes, I can vouch that the men's brain is extremely chaotic. So check out the full 2-minute versions of every Game Changer segment. All 15 of them are on our website, statechampsnetwork.com, of course, on our socials, and all over our free streaming app. We also have a complete playlist on our State Champs YouTube page as well. Let's check out the results of yesterday's Hungry Howie's Twitter question of the day. Do you think the Tigers will make the playoffs with a shortened season? Most of you say unlikely. In fact, the vast majority of you do. And yeah, not this year, but we're getting there. So let's just continue to hope we have baseball just to watch this season. I'm really looking forward to it, and let's hope it happens. It's not looking promising, but you never know. Tomorrow on Live, the Burn Man, state champ Scott Bernstein, will be back with me as we discuss the most underrated quarterbacks in the 2021 Michigan high school football recruiting class. And he's also got a top 30 small school quarterback list across all classes coming out as well. So join us tomorrow at 2 p.m. If you know of a guest that we should talk to here on State Champs Live, you need to email our show coordinator, Amanda, her address, amanda@yellowflagproductions.com. Have a great day, everybody.
Right now, we are all longing for the roar of a crowd, the excitement of a stadium filled with cheering fans, and the ecstasy of celebrating a hard-fought victory. Right now, we're all on the same team, and we must do our part to make sure as many students, athletes, coaches, teachers, parents, and loved ones are there when we have the luxury to resume our rivalries and start rooting for our teams once again. Stay home and stay safe.
State Champs Live is presented by Lawrence Technological University, where Blue Devils dare. Hungry Howie's, famous for flavor. And the Detroit Medical Center. Do you have a sports injury or are just looking to take your game to the next level? Go where the pros go. Visit dmc.org/gamechangers.